Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you had a nice lunch and that you await the weekend in Mauritius. By tomorrow, at least you will have some one or few days to stay behind and enjoy the sea, the sun. With your permission, we are going to resume our business for today. I'll first of all wish to express my thanks once again to Philippines and also to Lebanon for taking up the chairpersonship on my behalf during the examination of some important items this morning and yesterday. Now that we have examined nominations to the urgent safeguarding list and the representative list, as well as the examination of proposals to the register of good safeguarding practices, we are left with item 10D regarding the examination of requests for international assistance. Before we go back to examine draft decision 13-10 concerning a number of cross-cutting issues that are common to the different mechanisms. We have one request to examine under this sub-item, and which has been submitted by Albania. Let me recall that we have here to evaluate to which extent this request meets the criteria for international assistance as a whole, just to remind ourselves that it is not necessary to meet each and every criterion to be eligible to this international assistance. And once again, it's good that we be reminded of the criteria, and this now appears on the screen. In addition to paragraph 10 of the operational directives, no, in fact, it is paragraph 10 of the operational directives which refers to two other considerations in addition to the 7 which appears on the screen right now, and which states that the committee, when considering the evaluation of international assistance, should also look into the cooperation at the bilateral, regional, and international levels, as provided for by paragraph 10A of the operational directives, and also about how the assistance may have a multiplier effect and may stimulate financial and technical contributions from other sources. With these few preliminary observations, Let us now move to examine this individual request. The request before us has been submitted by Albania for a project entitled Community-Based Inventory of ICH in Albania, with a view to safeguarding and transmitting to future generations. And this is under item 10D. May I now request the chairperson of the evaluation body to present the findings of the body. Mr. Omari, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. Our file we examined under this 10D is community-based inventorying of ICH in Albania with a view to safeguarding and transmitting to future generations, submitted by Albania. Albania has requested international assistance of $213,260 from the Intangible Cultural Heritage Fund for the implementation of the project aimed at carrying out a community-based inventory of intangible cultural heritage with a view of drawing up tailored action plans for its safeguarding and transmission to future generations. From the information included in the file, the request responds as follows to the criteria for granting international assistance as set out in paragraph 10 and 12 of the operational directives. The project involves a suitable set of activities which guarantees its visibility by training a large number of community members and experts in community-based inventory, and wide dissemination of the principles and working methods of the 2003 Convention. The active involvement of the state administration, research institutes, and regional NGOs may guarantee further development of the inventory after the conclusion of the project. The requesting state party has implemented previously financed activities. As the scope of the project is national, the state party will invite experts with the necessary know-how to ensure the appropriate quality of the project outcomes. However, the evaluation body considered that it is not clear how the communities were involved in the preparation of the request as well as the implementation and evaluation of the proposed project. Although the budget breakdown and timetable are well structured, however, the lack of coherence between the request, the budget, and the timetable does not allow assessment of the appropriateness of the requested amount. The digitalization of data is budgeted for 12 months, but is scheduled to last 15 months according to the timetable. The state party's contribution covers less than 1% of the total cost of the project, which raises concern about the sustainability of the project once the international assistance has ended. The file also does not explain how the project will stimulate financial and technical contribution from other sources or similar efforts elsewhere. In addition, the evaluation body wishes to invite the state party, should it wish to resubmit the request during a following cycle, to provide a clear and detailed explanation of its commitment, both financial and in kind, to demonstrate that the project will be sustainable once the international assistance has ended. Therefore, the Evaluation Board recommends that the committee refer the international assistance request to the state for the project entitled Community-Based Inventory of ICH in Albania with a view to safeguarding and transmitting to future generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Omare. Dear delegates, we have heard the recommendations of the evaluation body, and for this decision, there has been a request for amendment put in by Lebanon. May I please request Lebanon to take the floor?
Merci, Monsieur le Président. Le projet de demande d'assistance internationale de l'Albanie montre que malgré les efforts déployés par le pays pour sauvegarder le patrimoine vivant, l'inventaire national avec la participation des communautés n'a pas encore été réalisé, d'où l'importance du projet pilote proposé pour 3 districts du pays. Arrivant à la fin du cycle d'examination des dossiers de candidature, permettez-nous de faire le constat que plusieurs dossiers n'ont pas été adoptés à cause de failles techniques. Ce dossier représente un exemple de plus, ce qui nous mène à dire qu'un grand effort de renforcement de capacité est encore à faire. Et c'est donc à cet effet que nous avons présenté les amendements. Mais nous aimerions d'abord écouter l'Albanie, écouter les réponses de l'Albanie aux remarques faites par l'organe d'évaluation.
Merci, le Liban. Si nous n'avons pas d'autres membres du comité qui voudront intervenir à ce stade, avec votre permission, je vais demander à l'Albanie de réagir sur les recommandations du comité d'évaluation. L'Albanie.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to thank the evaluation body for its evaluation it has made to our requests for assistance. It duly recognizes the considerable efforts already taken to safeguard living heritage in Albania and transmission of this heritage to future generations. It also highlights the crucial importance of the project in order to build capacity and for a best and comprehensive inventory with a very clear impact on the community. In the 3 districts chosen out of 12 of the country, there are 5 groups of national minorities living which confers to this exercise a clear value added in fostering cooperation within and among communities with an understandable broader impact at the regional level as well. One of the main deliverables of the project will be to create a mechanism to involve the communities in the safeguarding process by creating a pattern of the inventory, which could later be replicated to other 8 regions in the country. The assistance, if provided, will be a strong support to efforts already underway in order to speed up the process, train and empower communities, which will be the focus of the project with a clear approach bottom-up, contrary to what has been done before in the country, which has been from top down. The community will play an important role in monitoring and validating the results of the inventorying process. Their views, experience, and preferences will be taken into account, as will their reflections on the meaning and significance of the intangible cultural heritage inventoried. The evaluation has rightly identified some inconsistencies in the compilation of the budget and the timeline. We're really sorry for that. It is regretful that the file did not go what one can call an attentive final proofreading, which could have corrected these inconsistencies. The evaluation body rightly points out as well that the in-kind contribution of the state party, although clearly mentioned in the file, has not been quantified. It gives the wrong impression that the involvement of the state party is insufficient and could raise concerns regarding the sustainability of the project during its implementation and after. These issues echo, in fact, a remark made several times before and during this session of the need for a better and more fluid communication and interaction between state parties and the evaluation body. I can openly say that the many and various technical and other means and the dedicated human resources that will be engaged by the local and central authorities in addition and together with the assistance amounts to a considerable contribution to ensure smooth implementation of the project and ensure continuation and sustainability so that the experience of the project in the 3 districts chosen will be duly, and I'm hopeful, successfully replicated and extended throughout the country. It may as well serve as a model for other countries in the region should they wish to do so. The best sustainability proof will be some 100 community bearers in the targeted area, so in those 3 districts, who will directly benefit from the project. Sustainability is also ensured by the fact that the project is the starting point of a much larger effort in order to compile not just an inventory of the 3 districts involved, but an inventory of the ICH at a national scale. If our request is approved, as proposed by the amendments, we stand ready to work to reach an agreement as it may be appropriate to resolve these technical issues identified prior to implementation. We will, and I would like to put on record, we will duly quantify this substantial in-kind contribution by local and central authorities, which is not 1%, but goes way beyond 10% of the requested assistance, and we will make sure that the project is sustainable for its duration, as well as during the follow-up community-based inventory in the remaining parts of the country. And I thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Albinia. Do I have any member of the committee who wishes to intervene at this juncture? There is Kazakhstan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have studied closely the nomination and find it the request quite strong, and think that the evaluation body, which has also closely examined it, itself indicates many high qualities of this request, and indicates that there are some issues which seem to be more of technical nature and which could have been solved before, like requesting additional information from the state party. So we think that the request is a very strong one and deserves a consideration by the committee. Thank you, as according to the amendments.
Thank you, Kazakhstan. Dear members, we have heard the recommendation of the evaluation body and also the clarifications from the submitting state. And since I don't see anybody wishing to intervene now, I believe it is the appropriate time for us to move to the adoption of the decision, paragraph by paragraph. Paragraph 1, no objection to its adoption. Paragraph 1 adopted. Paragraph 2, I see, is there any issue about paragraph 2, Secretary? Mr. Secretary, is there any issue about paragraph 2?
Sorry, Mr. Chairperson, this represents a clerical error of the number of the file, so it's a correction of a clerical error on behalf of the Secretariat. Thank you.
I take it that we have no objection to the correction of this clerical error under paragraph 2. Paragraph 2 duly adopted as amended. Thank you. Paragraph 3. Is there any adopted? Paragraph 4. Adopted. Paragraph 5. Adopted. Paragraph 6. Adopted. And now we come to paragraph 7, where Lebanon has filed in an amendment. Yes, Kazakhstan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We would like our name to be added to this proposal.
Okay. Palestine.
I have only a question to the Secretariat. Maybe they can help us, because there are so many concerns in the previous paragraph that reflects the concerns of the evaluation body, and we didn't amend them to change the amendment from refer to approval. Could it be coherent? Can we go on this way? Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Secretary, can you wish to respond?
You asked me if it would be coherent. I must say it would not be coherent if the texts of the criterion were not aligned to the decision that the committee would take in order for the evaluation of this file.
Yes, thank you for this clarification. May I hear from Lebanon what is they stand in the light of the. Yes, let us hear once more some further clarification from the Secretary.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's not coherent. I said it wouldn't. It needs to be coherent, but I would need to reread the ones.
Yes, Palestine.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Maybe, since we need to have it coherent, maybe we should give time to amend the previous paragraph in order to be coherent and to adopt the new recommendation. I'm not against, I'm just saying for the coherency. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Okay. I hope that the Secretary is going to share some good news with us.
Well, no, I think we can find a solution to potential inconsistency should, and I say should, the committee decide to approve, and there is a precedent where the committee has then asked the submitting state to work with the Secretariat for a later presentation to the Bureau. There is one precedent for that in the context of an international assistance request. That means the later paragraphs would have to be amended in consistency with that precedent.
Yes, Palestine.
Well, I think it is a good proposal. We can go forward with it if there is no objection. I think it is a good proposal and we can go forward with it if there is no objection from our colleagues. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Let me be guided by the Secretary.
We would just request a little bit of time to ensure coherence and consistency with the precedent, to look at the way it was done.
Please, can you just bear with us for a few minutes? If Palestine wishes to...
Yes, Mr.
Yes,
Chair, with
Palestine.
your permission, in order not to waste time and we have other business, maybe we can give some time for the Secretariat to look on it and we'll come back to it once it is correctly amended, if it is agreeable for you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
If it isn't going to take long, perhaps we can just ask the Secretary to finish with it. In that case, can we? Let us give some time to the Secretary to do some corrections, and there is no point in rushing. And let us suspend consideration of this item, and at some point in time, we are going to come back to this. Okay. Let us now suspend this, consideration of this item, and hopefully, very shortly, we will come back to that. Item 10D is suspended for some time.